Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, I guess reality is finally starting to kick in. After weeks and weeks of the DNC media trying to convince us that Donald Trump is tanking and Joe Biden is spiking, well, I guess they finally admitted the truth. You know, it's those phases. Starting off with denial and delusion, while we're at the point of acceptance, finally, they've realized it's not going to be as easy as they thought it was. They've realized that Donald Trump, despite everything, is ahead pretty much across the board, and of course, to make matters worse, one of the most accurate pollsters in the nation, that's of course Rasmussen Polls, on top of it all, is now signaling a +8 Trump lead. In other words, things might have just got even worse for Sleepy Creepy Piss Pants Joe. Let the meltdown begin. Donald Trump is surging. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I guess they can't deny it anymore. This guy just showed up on CNN and hit them with the truth. Take a look.
Trump isn't behind. He's ahead in every national poll. He's ahead in most battleground states. And if the election were held today, despite 91 indictments, 4 federal trials, he's still ahead. That says a lot. And the fact is that President Biden is hemorrhaging support among African Americans, among young voters, among other voters of color. They're not excited about him. And then when you throw in the slew of independent candidates, RFK, Cornel West, Jill Stein, it doesn't look great for the president in terms of his path of winning the election.
So I guess it really isn't the Biden surge that Democrats were hoping for, huh? I guess CNN just hit their leftoid audience with a massive reality check. But then, of course, it gets even worse. Another big headline from this week. Election 2024, Trump is +8 over Biden, and third-party candidates have little impact. President Joe Biden continues to trail former President Donald Trump in their election rematch, regardless of which third-party candidates are included on the ballot. The Rasmussen Report's national telephone and online survey finds that in a two-way contest between Trump and Biden, 49% of likely U.S. voters would choose Trump and 41% would vote for Biden. In February, Trump led by 6, 47 to 41. 8% now say they'd vote for some other candidate, and 3% are undecided. So again, let me reiterate this for all the leftist viewers who watch this channel, the less than 1% of you. You know, if we take a look at the most recent polls, the most recent data, this right here, this was the supposed Biden surge. An NPR poll, a Data for Progress poll, these are two Democrat polls, by the way, and a Morning Consult poll, which looked at registered voters and not likely voters. This is what Democrats have been touting, but it didn't last too long. As soon as we ticked into April, the numbers shifted right back to where they were. And the latest two polls come from Emerson and Rasmussen, Emerson being the only one of the two that surveyed likely voters rather than registered voters. And their findings were a +8. So nationally, they've lost the comeback. But then again, the national numbers are not what matters. I know Democrats want to lead with that as a headline every time, but third-party candidates are on the ballot in this race. And then, of course, if we take a look at the national numbers with third-party candidates included, even the Democrat push polls, like Data for Progress, for instance, that showed Trump losing in a head-to-head, have Trump winning in a 5-way race. Then, of course, on a state-by-state basis, we've covered it a million times, Donald Trump's winning across the board. It's time for reality to check in, and really, I think reality is starting to check in. Remember in March where headlines like this were all the rage? Every leftist on Twitter telling you this is why Donald Trump cannot win. Even the anti-Trump Lincoln Project style rhinos have been pushing the same talking point. Biden's campaign raised $90 million in March. Trump's war chest isn't even close. Everyone was touting Joe Biden's $26 million big fundraiser with all kinds of Democrat heavy hitters. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Lizzo, Stephen Colbert, and Joe Biden. I mean, they freaking formed the corrupt Democrat Voltron to bring in as much money as they possibly can in deep blue, mega bucks millionaire, billionaire New York City, and they got a measly $26 million. At the time, the headline was huge. I mean, it was record-breaking. $26 million in one event, wow! Although not exactly surprising, considering, well, Joe Biden made the 1% extraordinarily wealthy thanks to the implementation of Bidenomics. And of course, inflation. I mean, $26 million these days is chump change if you think about it. Obviously, I'm being a little bit facetious, but you get what I mean. But anyways, the point was that Trump was done. Trump can't fundraise anymore. Nobody's donating to his campaign. He's broke. Then yesterday, we reported ahead of a fundraising event that Trump was likely to rake in $50 million at a Palm Beach fundraising event. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
Trump is calling it the biggest night in fundraising history. The fundraiser at hedge fund billionaire John Paulson's home raked in over $50 million, according to the RNC. That's up from early estimates of $43 million and nearly double what President Biden raised at his New York City fundraiser together with former Presidents Obama and Clinton. This was the first major fundraiser for Trump and the RNC since he became the party's presumptive presidential nominee. Trump said his supporters are contributing to a cause that will restore faith in our country.
People are just wanting change. The rich people want it, poor people want it. Everybody wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. They wanted to contribute to a cause of making America great again, and that's what's happened. We're going to make America great again. Everyone knows it.
$50.5 million in a single night. That supposed fundraising gap just shrunk tremendously. And this comes off the back of the RNC announcing I think they pulled in like $90 million. Trump has no war chest. His war chest isn't even close. That's what they've been telling us. But it seems as though the Democrats are probably going to start lagging behind in funding. It seems as though their only option here is to probably start another Black Swan event or to mobilize Black Lives Matter to once again pull in billions of dollars in fundraising, going straight to Act Blue. I'm sure they're going to tap into their George Soros piggy bank because they no longer have a fundraising lead. They don't got it. In fact, Trump might start overtaking them quite quickly if he continues at this pace. And so it's all falling apart. And you know, the reason I keep making these videos, I know it's a little bit repetitive, but I just gotta counter this narrative. I spend most of my time just chilling on X, absorbing all the news coming in, all the clips. I'm doing research for this YouTube channel nearly all day, every day, and I just keep seeing so many Democrat shills pushing these nonsense talking points over and over again, and so somebody's got to counteract the popular leftist narrative. You know, somebody's got to burst their bubble, right? Somebody's got to poop on their parade, and that just happens to be me. I'm that guy. You know, reality check, leftoids. All these supposed advantages that you guys keep celebrating on Twitter, I hate to break it to you, but they simply don't exist. And probably more importantly, and honestly, I really shouldn't be giving you guys this advice, but I don't think your talking points are perceived as you think they are. Let's go back to what I've been seeing all over Twitter recently. It's been a Democrat celebration the last couple of weeks, and I keep seeing this pop up on my timeline. What we're spending money on versus Donald Trump. Cash on hand, $192 million for Team Biden-Harris. Spent on over 100 battleground state offices opened, 2 million texts and 385,000 calls to voters, and 20,000 plus volunteers activated. Donald Trump, $93 million. Oh, he's broke, and he's spending it on legal fees, question mark offices, and fake golf trophies. Now, of course, that is complete fake news. As per usual, Democrats are the most dishonest people on the planet. But you know, they expected this post to be perceived positively. Wow, huge success. Democrats are doing so good, but they essentially said the quiet part out loud. What they're essentially celebrating is that their opponent supposedly has less money because he's spending that money defending himself against the weaponization of the Justice Department. We sick the DOJ and FBI to go after Donald Trump, and how he's got all these mounting legal fees. It's a big win for us. Is anybody really celebrating this stuff? I know the wacko leftists are. They love living in this little fake news bubble where everything simply confirms their bias. But outside of those people, everyone's perceiving this the same, right? We're all looking at this thinking these people are crazy, right? I think Andrew at Don't Walk Run Productions had the best response. He wrote, "Thanks to my administration, my extreme MAGA opponent is stuck in court instead of campaigning." Okay, leftoids, keep celebrating it, but don't say that you weren't warned. In fact, you were just warned on CNN that despite the indictments, despite this lawfare campaign, you're still losing. And you know, it seems as though these days CNN is trying to warn you endlessly over and over again. They brought on Frank Luntz a couple weeks ago, or actually I think that was like a month ago, where he warned you very clearly not to do it. Chris Rock also warned you guys, you know, don't turn Donald Trump into a martyr, but they didn't listen. And now CNN, during that same segment that I played earlier, again, is heeding the same warning.
And these people will absolutely come home for Donald Trump. Donald Trump just had his biggest small dollar donations in March, grassroots small dollar donations. You know, the American people are waking up to the fact, and they're seeing and feeling, they believe that our judicial system is sort of rigged, right, against Donald Trump.
You mean by the
like lawfare?
Absolutely.
Well, for example, the Judge Juan Merchant in the hush money case, his daughter, for crying out loud, raises money for Adam Schiff and Kamala Harris using the ploy that we will lock up Donald Trump.
Go ahead.
Look,
and Donald Trump will keep raising small dollar money on that. Absolutely, that judge needs to recuse himself from that case.
Here's the thing.
But, I think that's really the perception at this point, that Donald Trump clearly has a point. It really does seem as though federal agencies are being weaponized against him, and that Democrats, and more importantly the Biden administration, is celebrating it on Twitter. The people aren't buying the DNC spin anymore. Very similar with the whole situation with Judge Juan Merchan, the New York judge overseeing the Stormy Daniels case. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. The Stormy Daniels case in 2024. Last week, MSNBC was having a meltdown that Donald Trump was issuing threats against Judge Merchan's daughter, which he literally didn't. But then you have CNN essentially saying that Judge Juan Merchan, his daughter, raises money for Adam Schiff and Kamala Harris. So obviously that judge should recuse himself. Again, it seems as though Trump is right. Again, Democrat action is pushing people directly into the Trump camp. That explains the Trump surge. That explains why Trump is up in Georgia. It explains why Trump is surging in New York. It explains why he's leading in every single battleground state, even though he's supposedly broke and not able to campaign. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Democrat voters are completely delusional. The DNC is completely delusional. And of course, their pathetic little tactics continue to backfire spectacularly. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.